How do you feel about change in your life?
I generally embrace change, viewing it as an inevitable part of growth and development. While some changes can be initially challenging or unsettling, I believe they often lead to new opportunities and a broader perspective. I find that adapting to new circumstances keeps life interesting and prevents stagnation, so I try to approach transformations with an open mind and a positive attitude.
Can you describe a recent significant change you've experienced?
Certainly, a significant change for me recently was moving to a new city for work. It involved leaving behind a familiar routine, friends, and family. Initially, it was quite a big adjustment, from finding a new apartment to navigating public transport and settling into a new professional environment. However, it's also been incredibly exciting to explore a new place and build a fresh network of connections.
How do you usually adapt to new situations or changes?
My main strategy for adapting to change is to maintain a positive mindset and focus on the aspects I can control. I try to learn as much as possible about the new situation quickly, seeking information and advice when needed. Engaging with others who have experienced similar changes, or simply talking through my feelings with friends, also helps me process and adjust more smoothly.
Do you think change is always a good thing?
I wouldn't say change is always good, as some changes can bring about difficult or unwanted outcomes, such as job loss or health issues. However, even in those challenging situations, there's often an opportunity for resilience, learning, and finding unexpected strengths. Ultimately, while not every change feels positive at the outset, it usually leads to some form of personal development or a shift in perspective.
What kind of changes are you looking forward to in the future?
I'm really looking forward to some personal changes, particularly focusing more on my health and well-being. This includes adopting more consistent exercise habits and exploring new hobbies that encourage outdoor activities. On a broader scale, I'm also excited to see how technology continues to evolve and integrate into daily life, hopefully making things more efficient and connected for everyone. I can vividly recall a transformative experience that occurred about 5 years ago, during my final year of university. This significant change took place when I embarked on an academic exchange program in Berlin, Germany. It was an opportunity one had dreamed of for a long time, but actually putting it into motion and living it was an entirely different matter. What happened was that I spent an entire semester living and studying in a city completely new to me, immersed in a culture and language that, while I had studied it, was still largely unfamiliar in practice. My days were filled with attending lectures at a local university, collaborating with international students on projects, and navigating the bustling city on my own. Beyond the academic rigor, the true essence of the experience lay in the daily challenge of living independently, managing my finances, figuring out public transport, ordering food in German, and simply adapting to different social customs. Weekends and holidays were often spent traveling to neighboring countries, which further broadened my horizons and exposed me to even more diverse perspectives. Initially, I felt a complex mix of emotions. There was an overwhelming sense of excitement and anticipation for the adventure ahead, but beneath that, a definite current of nervousness about leaving my familiar comfort zone and venturing into the unknown. Once I arrived and began to settle in, however, those anxieties quickly gave way to exhilarating curiosity and a profound sense of independence. I felt empowered by every small victory, whether it was successfully deciphering a train schedule or confidently ordering a meal without fumbling for words. By the end of the semester, I was filled with immense gratitude for the opportunity and a deep sense of accomplishment. This experience changed my life in several profoundly good ways. Firstly, it undeniably broadened my perspective on the world. Living in a different cultural context forced me to challenge my own assumptions and biases, fostering a much more open-minded approach to people and ideas. Secondly, my self-confidence soared. Successfully navigating an unfamiliar country, solving daily logistical puzzles, and making new connections on my own proved to me that I was far more capable and resilient than I had previously thought. This newfound independence has been invaluable in subsequent professional and personal challenges. Furthermore, the exposure to diverse viewpoints significantly enhanced my problem-solving skills and critical thinking, which has been highly beneficial in my career. Ultimately, it didn't just give me academic credits. It fundamentally shaped me into a more adaptable, confident, and globally aware individual.
How do individuals typically react to significant societal changes, such as technological advancements or economic shifts?
Individuals typically react to significant societal changes in a broad spectrum of ways, often heavily influenced by their personal circumstances, inherent adaptability, and their perception of how the change will impact them directly. Some individuals might readily embrace technological advancements, viewing them as exciting opportunities for progress, enhanced efficiency, and novel forms of communication and connection. They are often quick adopters of new tools or platforms, eager to learn and seamlessly integrate these innovations into their daily routines and professional lives. Conversely, a substantial portion of the population might exhibit considerable resistance or deep apprehension, particularly if the change threatens their established routines, traditional values, or, most critically, their job security. Economic shifts, for example, frequently elicit widespread fear and anxiety, prompting a natural human inclination toward stability and preservation rather than embracing the new. This varied response ultimately stems from a complex interplay of individual resilience, access to supportive resources, and the clarity and empathy with which these large-scale changes are communicated and supported by governing bodies or community leaders. Ultimately, human nature often seeks comfort in familiarity, making profound societal shifts a true test of both collective and individual adaptability and foresight.
What role does education play in helping people adapt to rapid changes in the job market?
Education plays an increasingly fundamental and indispensable role in equipping individuals to adapt effectively to the relentless and rapid changes occurring within the global job market. Beyond merely imparting traditional foundational knowledge and critical thinking skills, which remain essential for problem-solving in any evolving professional landscape, its function has expanded significantly to prioritize the cultivation of lifelong learning and continuous skill development. With the accelerating pace of automation, artificial intelligence, and other emerging technologies constantly reshaping industries, contemporary education systems must proactively prepare individuals not solely with the specific industry skills demanded today, but crucially, with the cognitive agility and flexibility to acquire entirely new competencies throughout their extended careers. This imperative involves actively promoting robust digital literacy across all curricula, encouraging interdisciplinary studies that foster holistic problem-solving, and profoundly emphasizing the development of crucial soft skills. These include adaptability, creativity, resilience, and collaborative teamwork, all of which are highly transferable and invaluable irrespective of future technological disruptions or economic shifts. Therefore, modern education's ultimate goal is not just about preparing people for an initial career, but about instilling a proactive mindset that views learning as an ongoing, essential process for thriving in an unpredictable future workforce.
Do you think younger and older generations view change differently? Why?
Yes, I unequivocally believe that younger and older generations tend to view societal and technological change quite differently, a phenomenon largely attributable to their distinct formative experiences and the prevailing technological context of their respective upbringings. Younger generations, often colloquially referred to as digital natives, have been raised in an environment characterized by pervasive technological evolution and ceaseless societal shifts. For these individuals, continuous change is not an anomaly, but rather the inherent norm. They are inherently accustomed to frequent software updates, the constant emergence of new social media platforms, and an ever-evolving landscape of information and communication. This ingrained familiarity generally makes them more inherently open, incredibly adaptable, and often even actively eager for innovation and novel experiences. In stark contrast, Older generations typically mature during periods that may have offered greater stability in terms of technology and established social structures. Consequently, they might approach change with a heightened sense of caution or even discernible apprehension, as it frequently disrupts their deeply ingrained routines and often necessitates the challenging acquisition of entirely new skills or systems that were simply not part of their foundational educational or professional experiences. Their resistance, therefore, can stem from a genuine preference for time-tested methods or a palpable feeling of being potentially marginalized, whereas younger individuals more readily perceive newness as intrinsically exciting and an inherent hallmark of progress.
In what ways can governments or communities help their citizens manage major life transitions, like relocation or career changes?
Governments and local communities can play an absolutely crucial and multifaceted role in effectively helping their citizens navigate and manage the complexities of major life transitions, such as significant relocation or fundamental career changes. For those undergoing relocation, comprehensive governmental support might involve providing readily accessible and clear information on essential services like housing opportunities, educational facilities for children, healthcare provisions in new areas, and local employment prospects. Furthermore, offering targeted resettlement services, direct financial grants, or tax incentives can significantly ease the inherent financial burdens and logistical challenges associated with moving. For individuals facing career shifts, governments can strategically invest in robust retraining and specialized upskilling programs that are directly aligned with the demands of emerging industries, offering substantial subsidies for vocational courses, and providing invaluable career counseling services to help identify viable new professional pathways. Simultaneously, communities can powerfully complement these efforts by fostering stronger social networks, establishing peer support groups, and developing local resource centers where individuals can find practical advice, emotional encouragement, and a sense of belonging during periods of uncertainty. Ultimately, by systematically reducing financial barriers, enhancing access to pertinent information and high-quality training, and constructing resilient social safety nets, these entities can profoundly alleviate the stress and inherent difficulties associated with profound personal and professional transitions, promoting a smoother societal adaptation.
Is resistance to change always negative, or can it sometimes have positive implications?
While resistance to change is very frequently perceived in a negative light, particularly within narratives of innovation and progress, it is crucial to recognize that it is by no means always detrimental and can, in fact, sometimes yield profoundly positive implications. In certain scenarios, resistance functions as an indispensable and critical check on hasty, ill-conceived, or inadequately planned changes. It can actively compel a more rigorous and thorough evaluation of the proposed transformation, effectively highlighting potential unforeseen downsides, latent negative consequences, or crucial ethical considerations that might have been entirely overlooked or dismissed in the initial enthusiasm for novelty. For example, organized public resistance to certain large-scale urban development projects can frequently lead to the conceptualization and implementation of much better, more sustainable, and ultimately more community-centric plans that genuinely benefit local residents rather than solely catering to developer interests. Moreover, thoughtful resistance can occasionally serve to preserve invaluable traditions, safeguard unique cultural heritage, or maintain robust and proven methodologies that might otherwise be prematurely discarded in an uncritical pursuit of modern trends. Therefore, instead of universally dismissing all forms of resistance as merely an obstacle to progress, it can be more accurately understood as a vital and sometimes necessary component of a healthy, dynamic process that ensures changes are exceptionally well considered, fundamentally equitable, and genuinely beneficial in the long term for all stakeholders involved.